Hey Trent Knights, this is Mrs. Vega with the Sea Lions group for the learning week of May 18th. And I invite you to look at my targets on the board for reading this week. I can tell the author's theme or message by noticing clues in the story. In writing, I can use a graphic organizer to organize my informative writing. Math. I can use pictures to solve subtraction with 3 digits. It's gonna be exciting this week, so let's get right to it. In reading, we are gonna look at this page in your packet, which talks about the theme in a story. Now, you might have heard this as knowing the moral of the story. Your parents might have heard that term before. That's really what theme means, is what is the big message the author is trying to tell you. So I know you haven't read the story yet in the packet for the fir tree, and you will later, but this has a really nice definition. The theme of the story is the main message the author wants to tell the reader. To find the theme, think about what the characters say and do. So I like how they have this little spyglass telling you to find evidence and the clues. So you can take notes when you read to find out what clue it is and what it leads you to think about that story. Another way you can do it is, what I did is to kind of work backwards, and I thought about the theme, what's the author trying to tell me? And then I wrote down the clues that made me think that way. So I'm gonna share a different screen with you now. And this screen will have our story that we're gonna practice this on. So this is on our ReadWorks, and you all have many stories that I've assigned to you. If you need extra reading work, if you need a reminder of how to get on that, just let me know. But look at this beautiful picture of a sand castle. And this title is How Not to Save a Sandcastle. So already I'm wondering about the theme. I wonder what the author's gonna try to tell us. What do you already know about sandcastles? Have you built one before? Has it lasted a long time, or did it go away quickly? And so now here I'm going to read it, and then we're going to think about what is the theme of this story and how do we know. Gavin and Lily were working hard on their sandcastle. They decorated it with shells. They built towers and doors. Their castle was gigantic. Lily built a high wall to protect the sandcastle from the wind. Gavin said he thought the wall would stop people from accidentally stepping on the castle and smashing it. They're doing a good job building a nice, strong castle, and they're thinking about a lot of things. And then look what happens. People walked by and said nice things about the sandcastle. Lily and Gavin's mom took a photograph of it. Then she said it was time for lunch. Let's look at that photograph again. Wow, they really did a nice job. Oh yeah, I see the shells on there. Lily and Gavin ran with their mom to the snack bar. We will finish our castle when we get back, they said. After lunch, the children went back to the beach. But where was the sandcastle? Did the wind blow it down? Did someone step on it? I'm imagining that this is just gone. Lily and Gavin's mom explained what had happened. The ocean waves had moved up the beach. The rise and fall of the big waves had pushed water farther up onto the shore and the sand. The water must have washed away their castle. That's disappointing. Some of our shells are scattered around here, said Lily. We should build another sandcastle. Okay, Gavin agreed. Let's get started. So, I'm looking at this story, and it looks like, to me, there's some clues about the author's theme or message. And I determined that to be that when something is worth doing, it is okay to put in good, hard effort and to not give up when you're trying. So I wrote this down and I said, the author's theme is that it is good to keep trying at something that is important to you, even when you don't have success the first time. And that is called persistence. So how did I know that was the theme? Well, I know that building a sandcastle was important or worthwhile to the kids because they worked hard on it, they decorated it, they tried to protect it from the wind and people stepping on it. And then I know it was important to them because they were upset when they got back and it was gone. They didn't know what happened. They were trying to figure it out. But instead of giving up and saying, ugh, I did all that work, I'm not doing it again, they were very persistent and they said, you know what, this is worth it. Let's build another sandcastle. And Gavin agrees and he gets right in there and says, let's get started. So I think that those are the clues that show the theme of perseverance, sorry. And that it's important to try hard and keep working even when something, maybe you don't have success the first time. Kind of like how I did, messing up the way to say perseverance. So now we're going to move on to writing, and I'm going to share the screen again. And the teachers have made this really awesome graphic organizer. So going right along, here's what it looks like. When you're doing your informative writing, you may have already done a lot of this writing. Maybe you're in the editing stage or revising where you're just changing a couple things around. But if you're still in the part of where you're making new writing and you've done some research and you want to organize that research into a paragraph, this organizer is awesome. And I'll show you why. If you look down, there's an example. I think I went too far. Here it is. And so what I can see here is that I'm just going to focus on this one first part of the organizer. So this teacher researched where giraffes live. And then the subtopic sentence, so they could say, how am I going to start this paragraph? The grassland and plains and woodlands of the African savanna provide the giraffe with what it needs to survive. So this is the topic about where giraffes live. This introduces some of the ideas there. And then the teacher gets right into the facts that just relate to where they live. Nothing else. We're not talking about what they eat or what they do for fun. It's just where they live. The wide open spaces of the savanna allow the giraffe to see predators from far away. So that's why they pick the savanna to live. Woodland areas are rich with acacia tree twigs and leaves for it to eat. So even though this is a little bit about the eating, it's important that there are trees where the giraffe lives that it can get food. So that's why this is specific to where they live. Morning dew and water content from the twigs and leaves supply it with water. Because where you live, you have to also be able to get a water source. So those are 3 facts about why the African savanna is the place where giraffes live. And then the teacher did a great job wrapping it up with that conclusion sentence. The grassland, plains, and woodlands of the African savanna meet the giraffe's needs for survival. So if this were you writing it and you wanted to organize your research, you could do it on this page, and then you can write it without the organizer on a page like this, or if you wanted to draw a picture, you could, and then write your paragraph. So I want you to try using that organizer this week if you have some new information to share. And now I'm going to move into math. So this week we are going to do a strategy called cubes. And you'll see this strategy on page 28 in your packet. And what it's going to ask you to do is to circle key information in a story problem, underline the question or task, box any important clue words, like how do you know if you have to add or subtract? Evaluate and eliminate. What steps do I need to take? What information do I need? And then you solve. Show your work. Does it make sense? And this week, the big important theme is to show your work with pictures. So I'm going to get my whiteboard and I'm going to take some notes on this story problem, and then I'll stop the screen share so you can see me a little better. But for now, here's the story problem. There were 436 people at the art show. 219 people went home. How many people stayed at the show? Okay, so if we walk through our strategy here, if I could do it, I would on this, but I can't. So imagine, circle 436, 219. Those are the key words. And I always reread a story problem. I read it once and then I go back and do these things because that will help you make sense of what to do. Then it says to underline the question. How many people stayed at the show? So then you're going to think about, what does that mean? What are they asking for? Like, do they want me to know these numbers all together? Is that the amount of people at the show? Let's see. There were 436 people at the art show. 219 people went home. How many people stayed at the show? Oh, so I don't think they want us to add. I'm going to think they started with 436 and then they took away 219. They want to know how many people are left, how many stayed there. Well, they want us to subtract those numbers so we can see who is left. And then we're going to solve by drawing a quick picture. So this picture is really small, so that's why I wanted to switch it over to my whiteboard. And in the past, we've been solving these problems with something called the standard algorithm. And your parents might know that it's the borrowing and carrying and regrouping. But this week, we are not going to solve the problem that way. We're going to solve it drawing pictures. And it's kind of fun to draw pictures. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with drawing a representation, a picture of 436. So if you remember, if you were in class and we had our place value cubes, remember those big yellow squares that are worth 100? Well, I'm going to draw how many? 4 squares for 100. And then I'm going to move on to my tens place. So there were 400s, 100, 200, 300, 400. And when you're drawing, you're a better artist than me. You're going to make these all kind of the same. Then we're going to have 3 groups of 10. So remember, we had those little strips that were worth 10. So I'm going to draw 3 of them because there are 3 groups of 10 here. And then I'm going to count them up, 10, 20, 30. And that matches here, a 3 in the tens place. Then we're going to draw 6 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are just the cubes. And I'm going to write the number 6 under there. So 436. That's how you're going to start solving this problem. And then you're going to subtract, which, as I mentioned, means to take away. So we're going to take away 219 of these blocks. So I'm going to start by crossing out 200. So there's 100, there's 200, and then I'm going to end up having to regroup, right? Because I'm already noticing that, I don't have enough ones to take away 9 in my ones column. So we're going to regroup by getting rid of one of our groups of 10, and we're going to give it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so now I can take away 9 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And look, I have one left that I will add to this 6. So now instead of 6 ones, I have 7. And I already took away that 10 to regroup. So now I have 200, 10, 20, and 7 ones, 227. Now, I'm not sure if I did that right, but I do know that I know how to do my standard algorithm strategy really well. So I might just check my work. I'm still going to solve it first with the picture, but then I'm going to check my work and make sure that I have the right answer. So I'm going to kind of erase that little guy there. Maybe I'll make him again here a little smaller. There we go. So 9, I can't take away 9 from 6, so I'm going to cross it out and make it 16. And I got that 10 for the 16 here in the 10's place, so I'm going to change my 3 to a 2. And I don't have to regroup again because 2 is bigger than 1. So now I can just start subtracting. 16, if I was going to use touch math, I could say 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. And then 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. 217. Uh-oh, so I must have done something wrong. I'll have to go back and see what I did when I regrouped. I must have done something. Oh, I forgot. When I was subtracting the 219, I forgot to subtract that 1. I regrouped, but then I didn't take away that group of 10. So that's why I like to double check my work with 2 strategies. This was a new strategy for me, doing the pictures, and you can see that I did make a little mistake, and that is okay. When you're doing math, you can make a mistake as long as you go back and figure out, like, why did that happen? Oh, it's because I forgot to take away that one group of 10, and now I have the right answer. I got to change that right there. Now it is 217 because I have 2 groups of 100, 1 group of 10, and 7 ones. And now my 2 answers match. So that's what I want you to try this week. And I hope that you have good luck with it, and email me or text me the pictures of your student work, 1 thing for reading, 1 thing for writing, 1 thing for math. And also, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. I hope you have a great week. Bye, Sea Lions.